וכולם מקבלים עליהם, ומלכות שמיים, וכולם מקבלים עליהם, ומלכות שמיים, וכולם מקבלים עליהם, ומלכות שמיים, ומלכות שמיים, וכולם מקבלים עליהם.
Shalom once again, Talmidim. Zman le'ivrit, it's time for Hebrew. Baruchim habaim leparashat Pekudei. Welcome to Parashat Pekudei. This is our last reading in the book of Exodus. We find our opening verse coming from Exodus 38:21. Let's begin our lesson together by reading our vocabulary list at the beginning of lesson 23. The first word, ele, means these. The second word, Pekudei, is the name of our Torah portion, and it means accountings of. The third line says Hamishkan. Hamishkan is the tabernacle. Mishkan ha'edut. This means the tabernacle of testimony. Following that, we find the Hebrew words asher pukad. Asher means that. Pukad is the past tense of counted, so we translate it were counted. Next we have al pi Moshe, and it means by the mouth of Moses. Avodat halivim is the work of the Levites. Bayad Itamar, at the hand of Itamar. Ben Aharon, the son of Aaron. Ha-Kohen, the Kohen. Our vocabulary list this week contains many names: Moshe, Itamar, Aharon, and it also contains many proper nouns. For example, Mishkan Haidut, the tabernacle of testimony. Hamishkan, the tabernacle. Levi'im, the Levites. And HaKohen, the priest. I'm sure you already noticed the small note following our very first vocabulary word, ele. It says after ele, the pei in Pekudei is softened to a fe, giving elef kudei when the two words are spoken together. Even though we call the Torah portion Pekudei, when we read the verse in the Hebrew text, we will say elef kudei. There is a list of rules when to use a soft sound or a hard sound at the beginning of a word. Usually the hard sound is favored when a letter such as pei or kuf is used at the beginning of a word. But what's more important than knowing these rules is knowing how to read. When you look at Pekudei in the second line, you'll notice that there is no dagesh present in the Hebrew letter pei. When there is no dagesh present, we are reminded to use the soft sound, or the sound of the American letter F, Pekudei. Therefore, when we read the first two words together, ele Pekudei, the two words will run together, and they mean these are the accountings of. Let's take a look now at our challenge teachings. We are going to study numbers 2, 3, and 4 this week. Number 2 says, in Parashat Mishpatim, that was lesson 18, 5 lessons ago, we talked about the avodah of the eved. Do you remember that avodah means work and eved means a worker or a servant? Question 2 asks us, whose work is mentioned here? Well, let's look at our list of vocabulary words and see if we can pick out the root for work. Ain, vet, dalet. Do you see it? It's 4 lines up from the last line, and it says avodat haliviim, meaning the work of the Levites. The hey in front of the word Leviim means the. Look at our very last word, ha-Kohen. Here we have a hey in front of the Hebrew word Kohen, which means the Kohen. We also have the same prefix in the 4th line, Mishkan ha'edut, tabernacle of the testimony or the witnesses. Moving on now to challenge teaching number 3. Adat HaTikvah is a congregation giving witness or testimony to the hope, HaTikvah. What place mentioned here bears witness? We learned last week from our challenge teachings that the Hebrew word aid, Ein Dalet, means witness or testimony. Here in this Torah portion, we find a derivative of the same Hebrew word Ein Dalet, Ha-edut. It's in the 4th line. Mishkan ha-edut means tabernacle of the testimony. Therefore, the place mentioned above that bears witness, or edut, is the Mishkan ha-edut, the tabernacle of testimony. And as we look to number 4, we're going to use the same root that is used in the Hebrew word Mishkan. Question 4 asks, at the end of this portion, Adonai displays his Shekhinah, glory. Which word names the place he fills with his Shekhinah? The kaf in this word is a soft sound. It's going to be the guttural sound. So we are blending the shin with the guttural sound chaf to read the word Shekhinah. It means God's glory. Do you see a similar root in this Hebrew word and in the Hebrew word Mishkan? If you said Shin, Kaf, Nun, you're exactly right. Shin, Kaf, Nun in Mishkan is the same root as Shin, Chaf, Nun in the Hebrew word Shekhinah. Even though one word uses the hard sound kaf and one word uses the soft sound kaf and the other word uses the soft sound chaf, they share the same root. HaMishkan is the tabernacle. It is the place that Adonai fills with his Shekhinah, his glory. Let's look now at the left-hand side of the page and find Exodus 38, verse 21 in our Torah scroll. We will be searching for the first word in our Torah portion, ele. It's not in the first break, nor is it in the second, nor the third. What about the 4th? Yes, down at the very bottom of the page. We read the Hebrew words, ele, Pekudei, hamishkan. Follow along. Read out loud if you can. You can do it. Let's go slowly. Ele, Pekudei, hamishkan, mishkan ha'edut, asher pukad al pi Moshe, avodat haliviim, beyad Itamar, ben Aharon haKohen. Yafeh, very nice. And as we close out this reading for the week, we will add to it another Hebrew phrase, chazak, chazak, venit chazek. Be strong, and be strengthened. And why do we say this phrase now? Because we are at the end of the readings for the book of Shemot. Just look how far you've come in studying Hebrew from 2 books of the Torah. And think how much more you're going to learn in the next 3 books. Also, remember that you have double homework this week. You have the regular activities and the review activities from the entire book of Shemot. So perhaps this week, you should set aside 15 to 20 minutes a day to work on your homework. Talmidim, I'm so proud of you, and I encourage you to continue on with your studies day by day. I'll see you next week when we begin Sefer Vayikra. Lihitrot. Bye.
Shamayim.